Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to Multitap, episode 18. Multitap is our weekly nerd culture, mainly gaming, though, podcast that you can listen to every day of the week. We fucked up last week, and we're trying to,
Are you sure you want to say every day of the week?
No, not every day of the week. Typically, it comes out on Mondays. Of course, if you wanted to support the podcast and get it 3 days early, you can head on over to patreon.com/GamesTechMM. Our tiers start at just $1. But typically Mondays is the day that it comes out. And this one's coming out on Wednesday. Last week it came out
Wednesday.
Or was it Wednesday?
Was it Wednesday
Thursday.
or maybe Thursday morning?
I think it was Thursday because we recorded Wednesday.
Yeah.
And that was for the PlayStation event. Also, we kind of wanted to see how some other things went. Anyways, yeah. So typically every Monday, that will start again next week. So every Monday, promise. I am your host, Enzo. Joining me today is your co-host with the most, BDB, Bruno.
What's up? We're almost on the big 20.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, pretty dope.
How you been?
Not bad, man. What about you? Oh, speaking of which, before we get to that, I did just want to say, big thanks to everyone who's been listening to the podcast, showing support, so on and so forth. It's been growing pretty good. We've been consistently, metrics have been going up, listeners, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to take a minute out, say thank you. It really is appreciated. We'd probably be doing this anyways, but we're glad that someone's enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely thanks to everyone who's taken the time out of their day just to fucking listen.
Sure.
It's pretty cool, I think, just to have an audience, no matter how big or small it is. It's just nice that people enjoy this.
Yeah.
That's why we do it for our own enjoyment, but it's nice to know that someone else gets something out of it.
Yeah, for sure. So before we get into everything, Bruno, what have you been watching, playing, reading, listening to?
So for this week, I got Black Ops 3, which, God, is awful.
Game's
but,
fucking
so
unbalanced.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Spellbreak, because that's free now, which I'm so glad, because I really like that. Like, it's a really fun, and I don't typically like battle royales. I don't hate them like most people do.
Spellbreak is really fun.
Yeah, it is. I dig it. I definitely need to learn a bit more of the spells, like elemental combos, because I'm still figuring out what works best for me. Other than that, I got Black Ops Cold War Alpha. We both were playing. I think it's really fun, and I actually can't wait for this one. I really typically not that hype about Call of Duty games, but this one, pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Treyarch, man. They always make, well, they made Black Ops 3 and 4, so I guess not always, but they do typically come through. And so far as watching, it was a Batman Day a couple days ago, I believe. 2-3 days ago at time of recording, and I watched the 89 Batman.
I saw you watching 89.
Yeah,
I was just like,
I regret that, because I thought the movie was better than I remembered it being, but it's not good.
He just straight up murders a dude. He
murders several people.
Throws him down a fucking stairwell.
Yeah, Michael Keaton's Batman murders several people, which is why if you fucking talk shit about Ben Affleck killing people as Batman, fuck you. At least he did it in a cool way that I was okay with. Michael Keaton. And do you remember in Batman Returns he lights a dude on fire with the Batmobile?
No, I don't remember that.
He does. He blows a dude up with dynamite.
I never really cared for Returns, and the reason being Danny DeVito's Penguin is fucking repulsive.
This is true, especially when he's in that like big ass like Long John's diaper looking thing. It's disgusting. But I also watched a good Batman movie, Batman Begins, which is my personal favorite Batman.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily the best one. Obviously, everyone typically leans towards Dark Knight, but Begins has always been my personal favorite. I think because it's the first time we got to see.
You gotta love Liam
Neeson's, man. He's awesome though in that movie as Ra's al Ghul, and of course Christian Bale, still solid as Batman and Bruce Wayne. And I like the darker tone that one. Well, I guess all Batmans are dark, but well, maybe not all. We got Forever and Batman and Robin that are super neon colored, wacky, goofy.
Speaking of which, I came across that Clooney clip where he's on what's
Graham
that?
Norton show?
He's on Graham Norton.
I actually like that show.
And he was talking about how fucking disastrous
Yeah.
fucking it was Batman and Robin.
Yeah, he was in Batman and Robin. Mr. Freeze, Poison Ivy.
Yeah, Bat Nipples.
Yeah. Well, Bat Nipples were in forever as well. People just don't remember Bat Nipples being in there. It wasn't as they didn't like shove it in your face in that one as much.
Yeah. Also, Batman buying women with credit cards.
Never leave the cave without it.
Never.
I just realized that was an American Express card reference the other day. Because the old American Express, they're like, never leave home without it.
So they took a Power Rangers fucking what was it? They were Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, in the reboot.
God, that was such egregious
product placement. Yeah. Which I realized when I watched 89 Batman, they also do a reference to American Express. So I'm assuming forever American Express will always have product placement in Batman somewhere. Probably not, but it was weird that there are two Batman movies that reference American Express.
Maybe it's because that's like the almost sort of the like premier card that's understood among like regular people.
Yeah.
As like, oh, you got that, you're rich.
Yeah.
And Bruce Wayne is, but like honestly, he would have a black card.
Yeah, it's weird, especially because of the context that it's mentioned in both movies. But anyways, to get off that, to round out what I've been watching and consuming, Lord of the Rings, the extended editions, of course, because I'm classy, and those are amazing as always. And it's been a while for me. I haven't watched them in about maybe 2 months, which is a long time for me. I know that's like a normal amount of time for any regular person, but for me, that's like the longest I've ever gone. It was rough, but I'm so glad I went back, and it was perfect timing too. And we'll get into that in a bit. What about you though?
I haven't really been doing all that much. Of course, I played the Black Ops Cold War Alpha. Really liked it. I definitely I really can't wait for this game. It's cool. Like it just, I don't know, it felt good. And I didn't even really care for the maps all that much.
There was like only one map that I played that I actually really enjoyed, and that was the map Satellite. That one was really cool.
Yeah, I like Satellite too, except for when you get an entire team that
just hides out in the dunes, in the sand dunes,
snipe.
Yeah, but it never works out for them.
No, it doesn't,
because it's so easy to get them.
Yeah,
I don't like
it, but it's irritating.
Yeah,
they're like fucking mosquitoes. Mm-hmm. It's like I'm not worried that they're gonna like end my existence or some shit, but they are fucking annoying.
Yeah, they're hindering my enjoyment with the game. And that's, you get that in like every Call of Duty. There's that little group of people that'll do the most annoying shit in the game. You can't really escape it at this point, but yeah, I do agree that wasn't the best. But my biggest issue, I guess, is that it takes so long to throw a grenade in that game.
Yeah, that is my only complaint, is that it takes a realistically long time to throw a grenade.
Yeah, which I guess I can't fault them for trying to be realistic, but at the same time, it's Call of Duty.
It doesn't feel good. I'm okay with games being games and doing shit that isn't grounded in reality, that really can only happen in a game. And if it's that you can throw a grenade in 1.5 seconds instead of like fucking 4. It really is so bad.
Mm-hmm. I managed to get a few grenade kills that I was so glad, because it really is
and then they detonate
task.
Kind of late too.
Yeah, which I noticed when I got a grenade thrown at me and then I went to go throw it back. Even that takes like forever to pick it up and then throw it back. It's the same amount of time almost.
Maybe that's why it takes so long to.
Well, the thing is, I still died. And I hit it as soon as it came my way, because they could have, I guess, held the grenade a little longer.
See, every time I saw it, I didn't even attempt to throw them back. I just ran out of the way because I knew it wasn't about to blow up yet.
Yeah, I only tried it once because I assumed, I was like, oh, pin's already pulled, everything else is fine. Yeah. I figured it would just pick it up, chuck it. Yeah. But it takes this like almost same amount of time as it would to initially throw it.
Yeah. And what's particularly crazy about this is that I'm looking forward to the beta. Neither of us are like Call of Duty fans.
No, I play them just because it's something to play with other people.
I don't even play them. I hadn't played Call of Duty since, oh god, I was fucking awful at like Modern Warfare 2 on 360.
Yeah, and you played a bit of Modern Warfare, the most recent one.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is I ranked up pretty high and got pretty good in it, but it's not my go-to. It's more of just like, if everyone's playing, I'll jump on.
Yeah, it's a fun game to get in the party with.
Yeah, so I mean,
but this one was actually pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, this one was. I would play matches by myself.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy.
And shouts out to the Pointman default class.
Yeah, their default classes
were really good.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah. If any of you happen to end up playing the beta and need something to use.
Oh, dude, they're probably going to balance that
you think?
MP5. Oh,
well,
yeah,
it was the
sure.
AK-74.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So whatever
the
SMG
MP5 was like kind of unbalanced though, mainly because of the fire rate.
Dude, I was picking people off at ranges that should have been considered something for a rifle, not like traditional rifle, but like an assault rifle type weapon, something that should have worked a little bit better with like a M16 type AR type gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But with that being said, I think that the rest of the guns were okay enough to where everything seemed to have a little more range on it. And I think they're going to draw that back with the beta. Because the shotguns too, man, were fucking eating. Like from a distance.
Oh yeah. You had told me about that and I tried it out, and yeah, they like you can hit pretty good distance on them that you shouldn't be able to hit with a regular shotgun that's not leveled.
So I think they're gonna play with that. Honestly, I hope not, because it felt fantastic.
Yeah.
But I do have a feeling that it'll get to the point where the finished product is going to be not something that I particularly enjoy all that much. Other than that, I've been playing Spellbreak. That is, of course, from developer Proletariat. Spellbreak is something that most people are trying for the first time. It's a free-to-play now fucking battle royale. It's a little bit different, though. It uses mages, and you get these gauntlets that have these magic elemental abilities, so on and so forth. I have been playing Spellbreak for probably a little over a year now.
Yeah. Because you had pre-alpha access, right?
Yeah, I was a tester. Like a early tester. Okay. Like when they first reached out to the public with any sort of build. I was under an NDA for it had to have been a year and a half, because I was under an NDA for about 9 months.
Oh damn.
Yeah. Because I was like really trying to stream that game, but at the time it was only on PC. They had no controller support, which I was fine with that. Because I'm not terrible with keyboard and mouse. I'm just infinitely better with controller. But, dude, I was getting eaten alive by some of those players, bro. I mean, they were just eviscerating me. And then when I had the pre-alpha access when I had alpha access, it's either alpha or beta. Whenever they first came over to PlayStation, it was just cross-play lobbies because there were not enough PlayStation players. So it was infuriating, because not only am I getting a shorter draw distance than other players who could, for example, it makes it easier to snipe with the frost shit and so on and so forth. But now that they're out of alpha, you can choose whether you want to crossplay or not. And personally, I don't think you should crossplay with fucking PC lobbies. I mean, if you're about that life, more power to you, man. Like,
To be fair, though, it
it's
did
just
take
too
us a while
infuriating
to get
me.
into a lobby without crossplay.
Yeah, it is a really new game too, though.
Yeah.
But for
Everything felt pretty well balanced, though.
for anyone who's a little skeptical, I fucking hate battle royales. Apex is tolerable, only if someone else, like if one of my cousins are playing it, I'll jump in.
Yeah.
But not for very long.
Yeah,
and,
I haven't
I'll
played
usually try to be like,
Apex
hey,
in
let's
a while.
let's go play some Destiny or fucking anything. But Spellbreak,
Yeah, it is really
I
nice.
really like Spellbreak.
Yeah, I'm naturally biased to anything fantasy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like I also critique it a bit more because I have so much familiarity with the genre.
Yeah.
And to me, I like the environments. I like the design of the mages, I guess. Whatever
the character models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the art style, like that cell shaded
Mm-hmm.
look, really nice.
Yeah.
And overall, like you said, it's really fun to play. I think it's very balanced. Like I never felt like I couldn't get out of a situation because someone had a certain element or something.
Yeah.
Like all of them meld in with offense and defense pretty well.
Yeah, I think they did balance it really well, because some of the earlier builds with it, the meta was broken at one point in time, like pretty broken, and now that that's not the case, it's really fun. And on top of that, if you're someone who maybe you're listening, thinking about giving it a go, I would say go for it. It's so new that really the only people you're going to encounter who have been playing for a while, who like really know what they're doing, where like you probably shouldn't go up against some type shit, is they're going to be in the trios and the duos. Everyone in solos for right now is going to be just as green as you.
Yeah. Wasn't the game just only duos and trios initially?
For the longest time, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, solos was a feature that I wasn't sure they were ever going to add, but they eventually did.
The team dynamics that you can have, of course it helped because we were in a party last night.
Yeah.
But it's really cool how like we all use very different types of elements and we can all like cooperate to use them.
It's almost
to our
like
advantage.
this, not the Avengers game, because I wasn't very fond of that, but in the like the way that they fight, like the actual Avengers themselves.
Yeah,
how,
like you see in
how
the
like they
movies.
combine moves to make like this power move. You can do that in
Mm-hmm.
Spellbreak, combining different elements.
Yeah.
And just depending on who's got what perks and so on and so forth, it is really, really fun. Like I said, free to play. Go try it out. I think it's on just about everything now. I think it's even on Switch.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's no like battle pass type thing, is there? Where you have to like. I didn't see anything like that when I was on it. But I might have missed it.
There's a built-in battle pass.
Oh, it's built in. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Fall Guys.
Oh, okay.
But it runs off of the class.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I noticed that. I just wasn't sure if that was a battle pass that like it changes every now and then, or if it's just like max them out and then that's like the main goal.
Yeah, no. So there's 6 different powers or gauntlets that you can get, and when you go into a match, you choose which one you're going to go with by default, and that's the class. And it's like a pyromancer is going to be fire. Then you have like ice. Then you have stone, which is basically just like an earth type thing. Wind, lightning, and toxin. Yeah, like it's toxicology, but it's like this toxin kind of poison thing. And you get 2 move sets for each one of those. And what the battle pass is you have your character XP stuff for damage you do, kills, how far you place in a match, so on and so forth. And you get their in-game currency, like 50 of it. They call it gold.
Okay.
Per level that you get for the actual character, no matter what class you're using. And then, depending on what you get with the class, you have different perks. So, like, you can unlock emotes and trails for,
they have some pretty
for
dope
when you're diving.
armor like
Yeah.
costumes in their shop. I
Yeah.
was looking at some. I was like, damn, I really want to level up so I can get some of these.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing is that classes level up quicker than your character does. But for the most part, all the rewards are gold. So you play for a while, switch up your playing, make sure to go through the classes. You can get quite a bit of stuff in their shop after a little bit. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a built-in one like Fall Guys, or if you wanted to go ahead and buy their gold, you can do that just like any other game with, cosmetic microtransactions. So yeah, but they do have that option to, they don't have a battle pass like that. So, it was kind of a cool take. And then of course, to cap off what I've been, that's what I've been playing. But we watched Fellowship of the Ring the other day, and god damn, do I love that movie!
It's so good.
Extended
They're all so
edition,
good.
of course.
They're all very good.
I'm
But
not
I
a
think
peasant.
Fellowship has such a like wonderful magic to it.
Yeah.
No pun intended, of course, but
So
it's so good.
we're not getting into that right now.
Yeah, we will
We're
in a
gonna
bit.
we're gonna elaborate in 2 seconds. Because before we get into the news. Typically that segment doesn't last that long at all, but the Alpha and Spellbreak were new, so it is nice.
Yeah.
Just a little our thoughts on them. We usually talk about random topics. We try to make them non-nerd culture, just random ass top, literally the most random shit. But occasionally they'll be nerd culture, and so, a little, those of you who listen, we do this little, spice up the podcast with something that has, kind of out of left field. My random topic of the week, we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to, so on and so forth, because there is nothing to be talked about, spoken on. On Twitter, someone asked, let's settle this once and for all.
Kendrick.
Yeah, had a stroke right in the middle. Kendrick Lamar or Lupe Fiasco? Who's the better lyricist? Lupe. Period.
Oh, I didn't remember that the question was lyricist. I thought it was just rapper overall.
No. It was lyricist.
Oh, well, I mean, either way, I would say Lupe.
That's why Lupe said on Twitter that he was the better one, but then later came out and said that Kendrick makes better songs than him, and Kendrick, he said a couple other things that Kendrick does better than him, and something along the lines of like he thinks he's a more influential and bigger rapper, makes better songs than him, so on and so forth. Lyrically, Kendrick can't touch him, and that's fucking. Oh my god, he can't. He can't. I don't know why we're why that was
it's
a
up for
point
discussion.
of discussion.
What has the internet been saying?
It was torn.
Okay.
But then Lupe turned around and was like, I wasn't saying I was the greatest lyricist. And then he named his top lyricists. Can you take just a little stab in the dark at who you think he named top lyricists? Still, I think still putting out music is what he said.
I want to guess A$AP Rock, but I feel
Of
like
course.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if that was it or
no,
not.
Come on, it's Lupe. So he knows that shit, which we've talked about A$AP Rock here. If you don't know his music, it's not A$AP Rocky. It's A$AP Rock. And
spelled differently too. It's A$AP instead of ASAP.
Yeah. Go check out his music. Go listen to some Lupe. Old school Kanye. Shit was dope. Anyways, I of course love hip hop, not the modern rap shit, but that's it's not even rap, dude. Anyways,
I feel like you could go on for forever about that.
Yeah, I really could go on for quite some time. Like I would love. I don't think I could ever do a hip hop podcast. I would love to go on a hip hop podcast. because I don't think my breadth of knowledge is great enough to like to really get into all of it.
Okay.
But it's enough to where like I would.
Does anyone run a hip hop?
I think Joe Budden does.
Oh,
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah, but also kind of like he likes talking shit, and I
Okay.
don't really, yeah,
Not about it.
yeah. So and
Fair
on
enough.
top of that, most of them go over like a lot of modern shit, and you've had like there have been series. So like, have you ever seen like the podcast series where it'll be like 12 podcasts, and that's it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they run them almost like they're like a mini series on a TV network, like on HBO, or like sometimes they'll do them in seasons. So they'll do either bi-weekly or weekly, kind of like a TV show does, and then they'll wait till 6 months or the next year, and then they'll put out more. I think hip hop podcasts, if you were to talk about kind of how great they are, or how great hip hop is, would work better under that format.
Okay.
But because otherwise you're just going to be talking about pop culture, and all that shit. And I'm just not a huge fan. But let's go ahead and get off that topic. Bruno, what is your random?
It's probably my favorite topic I've ever had and probably always will be. But technically yesterday, because it's a little bit later in the evening, but I'll say today just because I want to. I want to feel good about myself. Hobbit Day, September 22nd is officially Hobbit Day.
Yes, it is.
And I couldn't be more excited. Now, for those that don't know, Hobbit Day is in celebration of naturally hobbits and all things like Lord of the Rings, Tolkien based. It's not necessarily celebrating the Hobbit, because that would have been the 21st of September, day right before. And that's because that's when the Hobbit was published. But today, we are celebrating all things Lord of the Rings, all things Middle Earth. And there's nothing better, to me at least, than celebrating my favorite thing probably ever.
I really do think Middle Earth is by far, I think, the greatest fictional universe ever created.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is, oh my God, it is really, really good. That being said, I don't have the dedication like you do to go through the Silmarillion. I'm not reading the Bible. That's
I will
not
give
really
you
a
that.
fan.
I think one thing that really helped me want to get into it is instead of just jumping into all of the lore through books, I kind of looked at like the Tolkien wiki that they have and looked through all like the stuff I wanted to know. Because there's stuff that's alluded to in the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit books and movies that like kind of gives you something to build further off. Because they mention stuff like Angmar and Morgoth and Númenóreans, everything like that. And so naturally I wanted to look into it. And so instead of just reading the material outright, because I've tried before, and even me, as much as I love it, I couldn't really get through it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself really enjoying it a lot more after just looking at it from a simple like document perspective.
Nah, bro, I could maybe do an audiobook. That's as
I don't
far
know if
as
they
I'm
have
gonna go.
audiobooks for the, I mean, I'm sure they do, but I've never seen them truly advertised. One that I really do want, and I don't even like audiobooks,
Guarantee
is
you Audible has it.
probably.
Yeah.
One that I really want, and I don't even like audiobooks, is Andy Serkis did a reading of The Hobbit a couple months ago, I think. And I really want to see what that's like, mainly because I love Andy Serkis naturally.
Is it like a full? Is it like a full audiobook?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit!
Which The Hobbit is my like favorite book ever. I don't think it's the best in the series of Middle Earth books, but it's my favorite for various reasons. I even have like down to like my favorite artists within the Tolkien universe. My favorite is personally Michael Haig or Haig. I don't know how you say his last name.
Haig.
He I don't know if you've ever seen his artwork. He did the first edition of The Hobbit I ever read in second grade. He did the artwork in that version, and it blew me away.
Yeah.
I loved it, and I looked it up later, and he did some stuff for Lord of the Rings as well, and it's just so beautiful. And like it fits the aesthetic that I'm familiar with, but it also takes a nice like twist on some of the designs and adds its own flair without it feeling too foreign, I guess.
Yeah.
Because there are some things I've seen, and I'm sure you've probably seen a lot too, where it like looks so god awful. Because there's some people who we've mentioned before how like Gollum could have been fucking like 6 feet tall or whatever because there was no size reference. Which technically, I guess, if we're talking based off The Hobbit, I'll maybe give you that one, but even then, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
And I've seen illustrations of people making Gollum like this like massive figure.
On top of that, you have to consider Bilbo jumped over Gollum. Bilbo's a fucking hobbit.
Yeah.
Even with Gollum crouched down, that he can't be that
big.
The
imagery I get from that is hilarious.
He can't be much bigger than fucking than a hobbit. He can't be much bigger than Bilbo. Or and in fact, with that logic, he would almost have to be smaller than Bilbo in size. Otherwise, Bilbo's out here fucking hooping. Like, bro, Bilbo has hops to a degree that no one else has.
Oh yeah,
not even Legolas, who was added in the movies. Piece of shit. But yes, you can get Silmarillion on audiobook. It's on Audible.
Oh, nice.
Martin Shaw is the one who does the reading.
I probably won't do the audio. I really don't like audiobooks. I don't.
What?
I'm not. I like reading.
I fucking love audiobooks. I hate.
I enjoy reading.
Reading, unless it's like.
I like coming up with my own voices for the characters.
Oh yeah, see, no, they're
or even going off
we need
the
to get you tested,
or even going off the voices that I hear in the movies. Because when I read Lord of the Rings, I always just have the movie characters' voices. But if it's something that's like not prominent in the movies to where there's a specific voice for it, like it's random ass orc, I can just kind of off the top just mix together what I know and make something with it.
Yeah,
and it's kind of fun because it lets me know that my imagination is still somewhat working.
Now, I will admit there are some people who do the audiobook readings who are they ruin it.
Yeah, I've heard.
Fucking, it's bad.
What was it? You were reading Game of Thrones.
Yeah. I got through. I got through Game of Thrones, and
you got like what, halfway through Clash of Kings?
Clash of Kings, yeah. I got like halfway, and I was like,
I read halfway through Clash of Kings, and then I saw. He
does this
the show.
audio voice where he's like, "It's me, Arya," and I'm just like, I can't now, bro. Can we
I like
not?
when audiobooks will get other people just to come in and do like the character lines.
Yeah.
Or at least if the person reading can do them well enough.
Now, see, I'm cool with reading when it comes to like scientific shit for whatever reason, or like history.
But I guess you don't have to really put any imagination behind it.
No, I also absorb it easier if I can see it. Like think about doing like a Neil deGrasse Tyson book, audiobook. Like I can't. I have to see the words to properly process that.
Did you see that they're doing the new Cosmos series?
No.
So it's going like right from where the other Cosmos left off, I guess. And
what's it gonna be? Who's it gonna be with?
It's Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, okay. All right, we're cool. Still got same producers. It's
I think it's
Seth
literally
MacFarlane?
Yeah, Seth. I'm pretty sure it's still Seth MacFarlane. I think it's literally entire crew, just new show.
Cool with that.
It looks pretty cool, and I mean I don't watch Cosmos mainly because we don't have any cable. I don't think anyone has cable, but I don't. Is Cosmos on any streaming service? It's a Fox show. I don't know if they
Hulu.
Probably,
yeah.
Yeah, I've never actually watched a whole episode of Cosmos. I've seen clips from when Carl Sagan did it, and then a couple from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, I really fuck with it.
It's such a cool show.
Yeah. I also liked Into the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman.
Never heard of it.
Oh my god, bro! When we get done with this podcast, you have to watch Into the Wormhole.
The new Cosmos show is called Cosmos Possible Worlds, and it should. I think it premiered on the 22nd actually. So first episode already out apparently.
Or is it Through the Wormhole? Dude, I don't know. I'm kind of blanking because I'm trying to look up all this. I think it is through the wormhole.
Yeah, I didn't even know. I mean, I feel like who better to pick for any show where I imagine there's a lot of narration because it's science stuff than Morgan Freeman. He's got like the best voice for it.
It's through the wormhole. I don't know what the fuck I was talking about. Yeah, it's really good. And I don't know. It's like he's God, so that's the thing.
He plays God in the.
No. He plays
okay.
God in Bruce Almighty though,
and Evan Almighty.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
That one wasn't good.
There are not many times where I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with Steve Carell for doing that?
I mean, I don't really like a lot of the movies he's in. I don't think he's a bad actor. I just don't. I can't think of a lot of movies that I enjoy that he's in. And it's not because of him. It's just I don't like them.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, I can't really think of.
But the unfortunate thing is he is a really good actor.
Yeah, I like Steve Carell.
And he can be really funny.
Huh.
But it's just some of the stuff he's in. Like, I don't like The Office.
No, I think The Office is god awful.
I didn't like. I don't like Despicable Me, but that was mainly because everyone ruined Minions because they were just thrown into everything, and then they kept making sequel after sequel for those movies.
Yeah.
40-Year-Old Virgin's fine.
I don't like 40-Year-Old Virgin.
I really like.
I didn't find it funny.
Paul Rudd in that movie, and
I think that movie has funny moments.
But I can watch clips.
I don't like that type of cringe comedy.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when it's who was it who came in the hardware store? It was
Kevin Hart?
Yeah, it was Kevin Hart. Came in the hardware store and was like demanding fucking discounts or some shit like that.
Like causing a scene or whatever.
Yeah. That like the shit like that with all the side characters I thought it was fucking hilarious, but the shit with Steve Carell.
Yeah.
I just didn't find it funny.
That's what I was saying. Like, I really like Paul Rudd in that movie.
Yeah.
And some of Seth Rogen's scenes were pretty funny too.
I think Seth Rogen's for the most part always pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part. There are a couple movies that he's either written or has been in that I'm like, this doesn't work for me.
Yeah, there have been a few things where I'm like, Funny People was pretty bad.
Yeah, I didn't like Funny People. I personally don't like Knocked Up. I didn't really think that was all that funny.
I thought Knocked Up was fine. I thought it was fine. It wasn't. It was fine.
I like This Is the End a lot. That's probably one of my favorite ones. This Is the End
is really funny. Zack and Miri Make a Porno is pretty funny.
I still have never seen that one.
Oh my god. Dude, there's this scene where someone's filming underneath and underneath these two people who of course, okay, so Zack and Miri Make a Porno is about these two roommates who have to make money, so they decide to get these fucking degenerates together and make fucking pornos. And they're filming an anal scene, and fucking dudes underneath like that under table angle or
yeah.
And there's this part where he like pulls out and he just like he gets covered, and like they don't show anything, but it is like clearly he just gets shit all over. I think that movie's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Like ever. I've seen it on Netflix a lot, and I'm like, I should probably watch this. Yeah, it's Seth Rogen. I usually like his stuff.
It's really good.
I went and watched Superbad again, and I was like,
I don't like Superbad.
I
never liked Superbad.
I like Jonah Hill in this movie and Michael Cera, especially when they're together. And I like Bill Hader a lot. I just really like Bill Hader overall.
I don't like those coming of age comedies.
I'm fine with that.
I don't like
the
any
movie
coming of age
when you piece
anything.
the whole thing together. I feel like it's just not great. But like, you give me just little sequences to watch, like as like a clip on Instagram or Twitter or something.
Yeah,
and I dig that. But together, I don't really vibe with the whole movie anymore.
I take that back. I don't really. The only like coming of age story arc that I genuinely liked was Into the Spider-Verse. God,
Yeah.
do I love that movie so
That
much.
movie's just such a good movie.
Yeah.
Easily the best Spider-Man.
Yeah. But holy
I
shit.
like how we
we're-
got off Hobbit Day with
we're-
this.
We're at 40 minutes. I swear to God, you guys, it's like this is mainly, for the most part, it's a gaming podcast.
Before we move forward, I do, because we did kind of get off topic with Hobbit Day.
Oh, I want to spit out some facts before you go
yeah.
on. In 1978, the American Tolkien Society first proclaimed Hobbit Day and Tolkien Week, and defines them as, quote, Tolkien Week is observed as the calendar week containing September 22nd, which is always observed as Hobbit Day, but acknowledges that Hobbit Day predates their designation. I can't find anything as far as going back further. Now, this is interesting, though, due to the discrepancies between the fictional Shire calendar and the Gregorian calendar that we use. There's some debate about when to celebrate Hobbit Day, since the actual birthday would be sometime between September 12th and 14th in the Gregorian calendar, as explained in the appendices of The Lord of the Rings. Now, that is, of course, according to Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt any of that. I mean, those calendars, I've looked at them before, and I'm always like, man, I'd like to fully understand these and get into them. And I'm like, out of everything to get into in Tolkien, I think I'd rather just get into more of the actual content of the world and history rather than just the calendars. I have always wanted to learn the languages, though. It's mainly just Elvish. I don't really care too much to learn Black Speech or Dwarvish. I mean, they're very cool, very interesting languages, but definitely trying to learn some Elvish, because that shit is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
I don't know why it's not on Duolingo.
Yeah, Duolingo has fucking
They
High
have
Valyrian,
High Valyrian
and
and
Klingon.
Klingon, yeah.
And
I
they
don't
have
get
some
it.
other fictional language.
Dothraki?
No, they don't have Dothraki.
Mm.
No, because that wasn't a complete language.
Okay.
Yeah. George R. R. Martin never finished Dothraki. Yeah, it's like it's not really
Okay.
like the showrunners had to.
Oh,
finish
they
it.
have to create some of the
Yeah.
language. Okay.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying then.
Yeah. So
It could be, maybe it's a licensing thing. I don't know.
It could be. Anyways, you were gonna say.
Just with like some final thoughts for Hobbit Day, because I know we probably do want to move on to news. If you have never consumed the Lord of the Rings in any type of way, I recommend watching.
Why the fuck are you listening to this podcast if you haven't?
Firstly, naturally, but also just on the off chance you haven't, do yourself a favor, watch the movies. If you can watch the extendeds, watch them. They give you a lot more content with like characters and build up some of the more interesting features of the world, in my opinion.
And once you watch the extendeds, it's hard to go back to theatrical version, in my opinion. It's
I definitely have to agree with you on that, because I've just so attached to the extended versions for each film.
And by the way, if you're listening and you haven't consumed Lord of the Rings in one form, I'm just disappointed in you. You can keep listening.
Yeah, I am too, I must say. But also, if you don't feel like buying the movies or whatever, but if you happen to have HBO Max, you have all 3 movies on there. They're not extended. They're the theatrical. Still just as good, I'd say.
Yeah.
Extended are better, naturally, but they're both fantastic movies. I mean, obviously, they won numerous of awards and all that, but even going away from that, I think they're genuinely just really good to watch, and they're the best thing you can consume in the fantasy genre.
And then on top of that, I know how you scumbags are, and I wouldn't know this personally, but it is rather easy to find the extendeds pirated. Don't pirate movies.
I bought the whole Blu-ray box set.
Legal disclaimer, because I think I have to.
The thing that sucks is I can't watch the appendices because it was imported from the UK, and the PlayStation 4 Blu-ray player is like region locked. You have to reset the region, and I did that, and then it still wouldn't play them. So I'm upset because I love the appendices so much. then. But if you haven't seen the movies, watch them first. I would say because they're definitely a lot easier to get through than the books because no one likes to read. But then if you like it, I fucking suggest that you read those goddamn books and then read The Hobbit. Don't watch the movies, but read it.
Yeah, the Hobbit movies.
The first one's better extended. The third one has more fight scenes, and gore. For some reason, they put a lot more gore in the third one than extended. The second one extended, it's god awful.
Yeah, I genuinely, I hated the first Hobbit theatrical release. Second one was okay. Third one was, they were okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
The first one extended, genuinely liked.
Mm-hmm.
Second one extended, I fucking hate.
Which is weird.
And the third one, it's just okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not much different than it added something that I know really thought was missing in the theatrical, which I agree, and it still didn't do it justice.
No, it fucking didn't.
Which I know the imagery you have in your head isn't what's written on page, but still, I feel like it could have been cool. a bit more momentous than what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. I didn't care for it.
Happy Hobbit Day, though, everyone.
Happy motherfucking Hobbit Day. Go watch goddamn Lord of the Rings if you haven't.
And if you have, do it again. And if you just did, do it again. Fuck it, even play play Shadow of Mordor. If you want to consume Middle-earth in some other way, and because there aren't really that many other games that they make.
Yeah, but don't try to get your lore from it.
Yeah, don't get lore from it.
Gross.
You'll get an introduction to the world in some form, which we know a couple people who got introduced in that form and then really wanted to get into it and then did.
Yeah, oddly enough.
So
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad.
I was so surprised at that.
Yeah, me too. But I was very happy. I love when people get into Lord of the Rings because it gives me something to. I love sharing that with people.
Yeah.
I think it's something that's genuinely like a masterpiece, and I don't really like to throw that term out a lot because everyone kind of does when they consume something that they love personally, and I know. I'm very biased when it comes to Middle-earth as a whole, but I mean, I think everyone can kind of agree. Objectively.
I think objectively,
whether you want to look at book or movies, just based on how successful they were.
Yeah, I think objectively, you could even have an argument as to them being the top piece of fiction ever made. You know what I mean? So yeah, but
Yeah, right, I mean, Lord of the Rings as a whole series has 11 total Oscar wins, and they were nominated for, I believe, 17.
Yeah, we're at
something like that.
We're at 50 minutes, so
let's move on to news.
Yeah, let's go to news. You guys, swear this is a fucking cohesive podcast. You guys know what to expect, though. All right, so first thing that we're going to talk about is iOS 14 had its full release this week. And it was met with much praise for its inclusion of customization options to the home screen, as well as a handful of UI tweaks to the platform. Things like custom widgets. You can make shortcuts to make custom icons. There were, also when you get a call, it doesn't go across the whole screen.
Yeah, I'm
so
so
across
glad.
the top.
That bothered me so much.
And you can go about your business. There's a picture-in-picture mode. So this isn't going to work for YouTube because they want you to subscribe for their premium content.
Whack.
For YouTube Red, whatever the fuck they're calling it.
It's premium, I think, now.
YouTube Premium. Yeah. Why would they go with YouTube Premium?
I don't know. It was Red.
Isn't that what Pornhub calls theirs?
I think everything has a premium. They just say premium now. I think it's because everyone knows premium is the best version.
Maybe.
Or like the enhanced version. Because I guess YouTube Red, honestly, when I first heard of YouTube Red, I thought it was just, you get the YouTube Red exclusive shows and nothing else. I was like, I don't fucking care about that. Then premium, the way they pushed that model was,
no ads. Play when it's
locked and, all that.
Yeah, which is honestly horseshit that they're locking those features behind a paywall. Very basic.
It sucks whenever
features.
I just want to listen to like a podcast or that's only on YouTube or listen to certain music because I don't like going on Spotify because I don't have the premium for that either. Yeah, and I don't.
Anyways, if you have social media, I'm sure you've seen the bombardment of people excited to use their first Android, taking screenshots of their home pages.
Potentially
by tapping that they customize Yeah, and that's not a dig on Apple, by the way. I use an iPhone.
Yeah, me
I
too.
used to use Android. I don't know.
Which is weird because you
iMessages.
used to talk so much shit about Apple.
I still am very frustrated with Apple. They should not be applauded for playing catch up 8 years too late.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
I remember I had my Galaxy S4.
yeah, I
And
think
was
I
able
had
to-
a 3 that did all the shit that
Yeah,
they're
and
doing.
it was like every new iPhone I saw, I was like, damn.
Yeah,
But I eventually switched and was like, I like my iPhone.
yeah. I mean, it's,
And here I am now.
I like it just fine. I like it for the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it's a much cleaner ecosystem than Android. And at the time, I was using Android for things that I still can't do on an iPhone. But you can't root Android phones for the most part nowadays, anyways. Like that shit, it's been a clusterfuck. Anyway, so yeah, Android has no appeal to me anymore. But now, where I will applaud Apple is with iMessage. They added more features to iMessage. You can reply to messages directly. You can at people within a message chain or a group message. Is that message chain? Oh, look at that. It's fucking Android. No, Android. Have you ever been in an Android group chat?
Like of all Android people, or just being an Android user in a group chat?
No, just like in a group chat with Android users. It makes everyone default to MMS instead of iMessage.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's fucking terrible. It's so bad. But apparently Google couldn't pull off ripping off iMessage.
I haven't texted anyone with an Android in like a year or two, I think, because
Yeah.
every message I have is blue.
Yeah.
Which, like, if you use an Android, I don't like fucking despise you or anything. It's just interesting that, like, wow, everyone. And I knew a lot of people who were like just solely Android.
A mutual friend of ours one time said that when he's on Tinder, if he gets a chick's number and it comes up green text, he immediately is like, nope.
I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking
Of
about.
course you do.
But that's
course you do.
hilarious.
Yeah,
God.
I thought it was pretty fucking funny. Now, again, there were some other there were some security features that were added. One of the things that I like is that you can choose to give a general location. For example, if you're looking for restaurants to eat and you don't want to give your precise location, you can give a general one. Which is a much broader area to just kind of let you know, okay, you're in this area, but we're not tracking your every movement. Safari also lets you know if your passwords have been compromised by any different sites or so on and so forth. It lets you know. And on top of that, there are some tweaks to Siri and fucking translation. There was another security feature that I was looking at, but I can't remember. They're doing some really cool things with digital car keys.
Yeah, I saw that one. That one was really interesting to me.
Yeah, so it lets users unlock or start their car with an iPhone or Apple Watch. Next year with the U1 chip. The car keys lets users unlock the car without taking the phone out of their pocket or bag. Car keys can be shared through messages and disabled via iCloud if an iPhone is lost. That's pretty cool. They're adding some more customization to what is it? CarPlay. It's the dumbest fucking name.
You mentioned the lost like iPhone thing, and that reminded me that they also did add some third-party product support for their Find My app, to where you can locate your missing products, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is it is really cool. Of course, AirPods, AirPod Pros got a huge update.
Yeah, only the pros though, right?
Yeah, only the pros. You can switch between devices seamlessly. So if you're on an iPad watching something with your AirPod Pros and your phone rings and you want to take the call on your phone, You literally just put the iPad down, pick the phone up, and it switches just like that.
Yeah.
They also
That's
have
so
this
cool.
this really cool back tap feature that that you tap the back like 3 times and it'll do whatever.
Only if you have
thought-
the glass back though, right?
Yeah, only if you have the glass back. And I thought that was all really cool. I still think their customization features need to be, holy shit, do they need to be redesigned to where I can just change icons. And the reason being is that you can only change them through shortcuts. So when you click on the app, it goes into the shortcuts and then it goes to the app. Yeah.
So it's just taking that extra step instead of just letting you change the icon.
And well, no. So like, you don't have to do anything. That is the shortcut. But it goes into shortcuts and then into the app. So say you're opening up Instagram. You want to customize your Instagram, I don't know, your Instagram icon with, I don't know, fucking dick pics, right? So you take the dick pic you want, you create a shortcut that is open Instagram. And then it goes on your homepage. When you press that dick pic that's going in the Instagram, it doesn't just pull up Instagram. It goes into the Shortcuts app. The Instagram shortcut is activated to open Instagram, and then it automatically goes into it.
Do you have
so
to?
it's just,
can you close shortcuts after that? And
yeah, you can close shortcuts,
but it's just
after
annoying
that. But it's like that 1 second thing that I'm just like, why are you doing this? Just fucking open Instagram. You can shorten that if you go into accessibility, so on and so forth. Long story short, I don't think Apple should be applauded for finally adding customization. They also have a app library now, so
yeah, that was
an app drawer
pretty cool.
is fantastic. Like, thanks.
I just found out about that like a little bit ago, and I felt really stupid.
Yeah,
but it was cool to just be able to swipe through like that.
Yeah,
I like the there's a widget that they put in for Twitch where I just have it on my home screen and it'll show me who's live at the moment. I just tap them and it takes me right to the stream. So easy.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see some of the apps that come out with their widgets.
Their picture to picture was pretty useful today actually, because I was watching Two Towers on my phone and I was just looking something up and I just tapped it and I was still watching the movie and listening to it while I was doing other stuff on Safari, and then I even went on Instagram for a second. I was like, this is awesome. I fucking like this. Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't think they should be applauded for finally giving people the customization that they should have forever ago. And lastly, the people that are showing off their home screens, there's nothing particularly wrong with that. You like got a new feature, but it's so funny to watch some of them. I saw them go to a subreddit that was strictly meant. It's a r/iOS setup. It's strictly meant for jailbreak tweaks.
Oh, okay.
To show off, the cool ways you can set up a jailbroken iPhone, which is inherently different. And it was funny to see all of them go there, and because I figured they would be posting there, and they would show some probably pretty clean designs, and they did. But the people who had never been there before, who didn't understand what it is or read the about, were just like, oh my God, how do you do
this
that?
Sorcery.
Yeah, they were like, I don't understand how you do that. The icon background, there is no background, it's transparent. Like, bro, that's a jail, but that's a tweak. Like they think that it's all done through the customization. And that was kind of funny to watch. I do think Apple should be applauded for their new security features, though. It is rather nice.
Yeah,
to
I
see
like
some
that
of that
they
shit.
have the light at the top of your phone now to indicate for location.
That's what I was gonna say. It's not just location. So the location thing, that's been the arrow. That's been there for a little bit. The light is whenever your camera or microphone is actively listening or watching you.
Oh, okay.
So it's just letting you know.
Yeah, I thought it was a location because I didn't get the arrow anymore.
No. They might have changed it to location, but the arrow's what it used to be, at least. But the little dot, the light in the corner, is letting you know that the microphone or camera is being accessed.
So what are do you know what the different colors stand for? Because I saw like green and yellow, but I imagine it's just like two different versions of like, I imagine green's like, it's being actively used in some form.
No, yellow's definitely calls. Yellow's the micro. It's probably, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. I don't use FaceTime, so I have no idea. Anyways, if you want to check out iOS 14, you can go ahead and download it as long as your device is running iOS 13. Any device that can run iOS 13, you can go ahead and do it. That includes iPod Touch 7th generation. Which
why do they still make those?
The 7th generation, they don't make them anymore.
No,
they
I mean
haven't made them
iPods.
for a long time. Do they make iPods?
Pretty sure they do, right?
I don't.
I was on the Apple Store a while ago and I saw iPods as like an option still, and they usually always keep those up to date with like the most recent ones.
Huh. I have no idea.
I mean, they might not, because it's not like I'm going to bother to look at an iPod when I have a phone.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Anyways, let's move on to our next story. Last week, we went over PlayStation 5 pricing and release dates. And while recording, the podcast mentioned that pre-orders had gone live at Walmart and Best Buy, and they quickly turned into a clusterfuck, to say the least, then promptly sold out. When you couple that with the people reporting emails from retailers, such as Amazon, saying that they may not receive their pre-orders on time as they were more a placeholder and not indicative of actual supply, it was all around a bad look for Sony. Of course, I said that last week, that's what those pre-orders were, but that's all right. Apparently, people in the gaming industry, fucking gaming journalists who get paid to do this shit, just were befuddled that they were receiving these emails, despite the fact that you and I called that out. So there's that. Like I said, it was an all-around bad look for Sony. They responded via Twitter saying, quote, "Let's be honest, PS5 pre-orders could have been a lot smoother. We truly apologize for that. Over the next few days, we will release more PS5 consoles for pre-orders. Retailers will share more details, and more PS5s will be available through the end of the year." End quote. PS5 releases November 12th for the US, Japan, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea, with the rest of the world getting the new console on November 19th. So yeah, the pre-orders were a clusterfuck. I had a problem with pre-ordering. I wasn't going to pre-order a PS5, but I got the email invitation for it. So I told a friend I'd go ahead and order it for him. And it kept denying my payment, but I could see it on the banking side.
Yeah.
It was fucking baffling.
Yeah. I saw the statements and all that and everything that was, going on. It was
20 times.
It was, I saw it all happen and I was very confused because I actually had like the exact opposite thing happen, because I was like, I'm really trying to get my pre-order.
Shit.
I queued in. It said 45 minutes. I was at work, so I was like, bet. I'm going to just be doing work anyway. It doesn't matter. And then it actually went a lot faster than 45 minutes. And then I got in.
Yeah.
I picked the console I wanted. And then just checked out. And then it put the payment in my bank as like pending.
Yeah.
And then it went away. Once they sent the email confirmation saying, hey, your order has been fully confirmed, and that we're gonna give you the full charge once the console shipped out.
Yeah, I think what had happened was it was seen as a larger purchase and therefore suspicious for whatever fucking reason. So the bank initially denied it. After talking to the bank, it was one of those like, okay, nope, you're good to go. We see it. All right, got it. And then once my friend was like, yeah, no, we're good. It wouldn't. I think on Sony's side, they saw it decline once, and so they just wouldn't take it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whatever the fuck that was, and that was just.
Yeah.
It was,
I'm glad I got my pre-order and
it
I
was
got
pretty bad.
the digital edition because I don't fuck with them discs anymore. So I was very glad to
digital
to get
edition's
mine.
where it's at.
Yeah, I
For
was really
sure.
glad to get mine in, and because I mean I mentioned it last week that I tried on Best Buy and it was so bad. Literally,
Yeah, and that was
I mean,
after the Walmart clusterfuck.
Yeah, because I tried Best Buy, GameStop, Amazon, and Target, and the one I had the best luck with was Best Buy, and even then I didn't get it. And so when I got the email from Sony being like, "Hey, you're eligible to be part of the pre-orders when they start," I was so happy. And then I actually got in and got the once I got the final email confirmation, I was so happy because all that work at least paid off.
Dude, I had so many people DM me and be like, "Dude, how did you get the pre-order invitation? Where do I go to get that?" I was like, "Dude, it's too late.
Too late already."
Like
yeah.
it was. I had and it wasn't people through. It was all through Instagram. And it wasn't people who follow the account. It was actually like people I know for real, like in real life.
Okay.
They were DMing me and they were just like, "Hey, and I was like, bro, like, I can't."
Yeah, I mean, we already knew it was like no
Yeah.
surprise that we would get those emails
Yeah.
because we had mentioned that before.
I am surprised at the friend who didn't get the email though. The friend who I said
Mhm.
I was getting it for, he should have for sure got an email because
Did he sign up?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting then.
Buys immensely more games than us. I have no idea how they did that, whether it was duration of the account, because my account's at this point almost a decade. Actually, I think it is a decade old, maybe a little bit older.
Mine's
Yours is pretty old, bro. It goes back to PS3.
PS3. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was. Yeah, I
Mine-
remember.
mine
I
goes
made
back to
mine
PSP.
on PS3. Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I've had mine for literally over a decade. I think it's like right at over a decade.
Yeah, I've had mine for about 6-7 years, I think.
Yeah, I'll have to check into that because I don't remember when they were first introduced on PS. Well, no, I guess it would have to be over a decade because it was like 2007 when those consoles came out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
2006,
either way, if it
2007?
was on PSP or PS3 or whatever, I think it would still be over a decade because
Yeah.
you got. Either way, you had both of the early versions of the consoles, right?
Yeah. So
Which, I mean, I guess duration could definitely be a factor.
duration might be a factor
It just didn't seem like that was part of
Yeah.
it when they worded it, I guess.
because I know his profile's kind of only been active. I
Yeah,
think,
because it's a
since
newer
PS4.
one, right?
Yeah,
Because there's a previous one.
yeah.
So that, I mean,
Yeah.
that probably could be part of it then.
I don't know. It was just so weird the way they did it. But anyways, going on to other pre-orders. Our next story is Microsoft Xbox Series X and S pre-orders went live September 22nd. That would be today. And too late by the time you're listening to this,
Yeah.
as they too sold out almost immediately. While it certainly went smoother than Sony's, as retailers stuck to the pre-order times and didn't jump the gun like Walmart and Best Buy.
Fucking Walmart and Best Buy.
There were still reports of site crashes across retailers and including Microsoft's own website, according to IGN. The Series X and S come out November 10th later this year, just 2 days before the PS5.
Yeah. I was a little upset. I woke up too late for these pre-orders, but I'm a little bit glad at the same time because I feel like I might not have got one anyway.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm definitely going to get a Series S just because it is so cheap to just throw on the entertainment center,
Mm-hmm.
if nothing else.
I mean, I'll be getting one.
But
so.
I have Game Pass, so I'm in no rush.
Yeah.
I can play on PC.
I don't have anything to game with so far as
Yeah.
like Game Pass games
Yeah,
because
you have a fucking MacBook.
I mean, I love my fucking MacBook. Shut the fuck
good
up.
for you. I can play games on mine.
Whatever. I am actually kind of upset. There are a few things that I did want to play on here that I really can't, and it's just because they got rid of the 32-bit player on Catalina. But whatever. I am definitely going to get an S so that I can play these not only Xbox exclusives that I'm excited to see, but everything on Game Pass that looks amazing.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and get into that because next on the list, Microsoft has officially made the largest video game acquisition in history on Monday, announcing they bought ZeniMax Media for $7.5 billion US dollars in
That's
cash.
with a B.
With a fucking B, because they're Microsoft, so they're balling. ZeniMax Media is the parent company of id Software, ZeniMax Online, Arcane, and most notably Bethesda. This adds franchises such as Doom, The Elder Scrolls, Dishonored, Fallout, Wolfenstein, and more to the Microsoft library of first-party titles moving forward. Previous iterations of these titles will be coming to Game Pass, further validating the value of Microsoft's monthly service, currently sporting 15 million subscribers, according to the company.
Nice.
Now, previously announced titles, Deathloop, developed by Bethesda, and Ghostwire Tokyo, developed by Tango Gameworks but published by Bethesda, will still be PS5 timed exclusives, as Xbox head Phil Spencer said they will honor the deal previously made between Sony and ZeniMax, probably because it's legally required. I'm just going to go out there and say, if they said that there was an exclusivity deal, there's a deal made there. There's like like you sign a contract.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to pay you X amount of money for you to not release this shit on these other.
There's probably no way they could get around that, is there?
No, it just felt like an unnecessary thing to say. That they would honor the deal.
It definitely makes
made,
them look better,
as if
I
they were
guess.
like virtuous for.
Yeah,
for
I mean that's
not
probably why they
breaking
could do it then.
Probably a legal contract. That being said, I haven't seen the legal contract, so I can't speak to where there is one. I promise you there is though. However, there seems to be confusion thanks to the rhetoric surrounding future titles being on other platforms, with Phil Spencer saying, saying it will be on a case-by-case basis as far as future games coming to other platforms. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, I think that's how you say that. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Saying they will make their game content broadly available. And ZeniMax Online studio director Matt Thierer taking to Twitter to ensure ESO players support will continue for the game on all platforms for its duration, just as it has for the past couple years. This is fucking huge news. The reason being, these are beloved fucking franchises. Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Wolfenstein. Yeah,
there's some heavy hitters.
Yeah, I mean, Dishonored, fucking huge. And Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are two games that people were really looking forward to. Now, what's interesting is that there's been this narrative in games media that they're like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I can't tell you that I know this factually, but I fucking promise you this is what's going to happen. I keep seeing this thing that's like, oh, they should release them on Sony too because they'll just make more money. And I'm like, have you fucks not been paying attention? They're not going to make any money off of fucking Xbox sales because there aren't really going to be Xbox sales. Microsoft has said every Xbox first-party title will be on Game Pass day one. Every single one. Every single one. That means every Bethesda game. Now, I think they're going to go ahead and put them on PlayStation as well. And whether they're charging $60 or $70, they're going to have on that boot up screen when you're loading into the game, they're going to have something along the lines of a screen that says an Xbox Game Pass game or included as part of the Xbox Game Pass collection or some shit like that.
Something that lets you know, like, hey,
to let Sony players know, hey, by the way, the game you spent $60 for,
potentially
other
70.
People, $70 for, other people got today for free with this service.
Mm-hmm.
It's a win-win. I clearly think that that's the way that it's going. I think that for right now, Phil Spencer is being rather candid with his words about exclusivity because he wants to sell consoles and get that initial boost right out of the gate. But the fact of the matter is $14.99 for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. That like seriously, you cannot beat it. This is literally what, $2 more than Netflix?
Yeah,
$2 more than Netflix.
The same cost as a HBO subscription.
It's fucking
roughly
insane. This is an insane value.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think
you
that's,
get way too much out of it to not, at the very least, get like the normal Game Pass, if not Ultimate.
Yeah,
which I feel like Ultimate probably one of the best ways to go, unless you're not trying to game on PC.
Yeah, I really don't. But see, you don't need. What do you mean, unless you're not trying to game on PC?
Well, I mean, like, I thought Ultimate was the one where you get both.
Yeah, you do get both, but if you have, like, if you don't have an Xbox and you just have a PC, you can pay. I think I pay $5 a month, dude. I pay $5 a month for Game Pass on PC because I don't have an Xbox.
Nice.
So, I'm telling you, it's fucking insane. Like it really is insane. But Game Pass Ultimate does come with both for the Xbox Game Pass and PC, and access to Project X Cloud. And later this year, it'll be adding ZeniMax Media games, and it'll be adding EA Play games. And all of that, you get your Xbox Gold membership.
Yeah, they're just giving you so much at this point.
It is pretty insane. But yeah, I mean, I'm frankly very tired of seeing whether people of seeing professional journalists and analysts being like, well, you know, I'm not exactly sure. It just feels lazy at this point. Microsoft has already said what they intend to do, and that is to make a platform, to make an ecosystem in which you play in, that it doesn't matter where you play, but you're playing on fucking Xbox. You're playing on their platform. No matter if you got a PC or if you got an Xbox. I think if they could put it on fucking PlayStation, they would. I think there's a good chance they will. I mean, they already partnered with Nintendo to do it for Switch. So it's just like Xbox truly knows that the future, or at least the future that they're building, is looking forward towards this idea of a platform, your ecosystem. And they are making theirs way more lucrative than Sony's. And yeah, you know, like prepared.
Yeah, because they showed the Plus collection full lineup, like the official like full lineup of games. I thought that was just what they showed in the clip, and no.
Yeah, the like 15 games that we named last week that I on purpose read every single title, and I think it was 11. It might be more than 11. But I read off every single one of those games just to prove that was a fucking joke, because I wouldn't dare read off Game Pass's library on the podcast. I'd be like, oh, well, it includes fucking Gears 5 and you know, I'd name a couple more games and be like, and a shit ton more.
Whereas you can name all the ones on the Plus
I can name
collection.
all the ones on the Plus collection. Under 30 seconds.
I've played most
Easy.
of the ones on the Plus collection.
Yeah, they're fucking it's
that shit really is a joke. I was hoping that there would be like an announcement of like other games that would be on there, and it was nope. It was just everything that was shown pretty much.
Yeah, and you know what? That's fine. I'm not an Xbox fanboy. Like I said, I don't even own an Xbox. I own a PlayStation. I own a PS4. I've owned every PlayStation console. I prefer to play on PlayStation platforms. Like I don't know what it is. It's like fucking ingrained in me. Like I like Microsoft. I'm an Xbox fan. Like it's not like I dislike them. But I'm more of a fan of PlayStation, if I'm being honest. Like if there's a personal bias there is. I can objectively say that Microsoft getting ahead of Sony is a good thing for the gaming industry and for gamers, because that means it makes it more competitive, which means you get better values. So while everyone's been bitching about the third party or the third person action adventure walking simulators that Sony's been putting out, which personally they say that for every single one of them. I love them. Like, the only one that was actually a walking simulator was Death Stranding. And that game was still fucking amazing.
Still haven't played it.
It's pretty good. We'll download it later. It gets kind of a bitch towards the end.
Like gameplay wise?
No, just like oh, fuck. Okay. It's a little running a little long in the tooth kind of thing. You know what I mean? It didn't need to be that long.
Okay.
That being said, it's still fun as shit. Ghost of Tsushima is fucking amazing. My point is that I would like to see Sony succeed, and I don't think that they're going to. I think that if they're going at their current approach, they're going to fail miserably. And personally, I would hate to see another Nintendo Wii U situation where you make that kind of a bad decision. And when you're desperate, I don't know, fucking maybe you do. But with that being said, Sony is still extremely successful coming out of this. I don't think that they're going to fail to that degree. I would like to see them try to keep up with Microsoft, because it is rather, I guess I'm approaching it from this standpoint, is that the gaming industry, like we touched on last week, has a PlayStation bias. You can see that in the bumps on reviews. You can see that everything. There is a PlayStation bias. And I'm not even saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It's the superior console this generation. It's the superior platform this generation. Xbox One was a fucking joke. From off rip, it was a fucking joke. But they got Phil Spencer in there, and they've been fucking snatching up studios, bro. They've been setting up this xCloud shit. They've been setting up the fucking the Game Pass shit. They've clearly been out there fucking making deals, and it's really refreshing to see, because I don't like to see any of these companies fail. I want to see a very healthy, competitive gaming ecosystem, and for the past 6 years, it really hasn't been. Not at all. That being said, I don't think Sony's going to fall flat on their face. But I think they have a lot of ground to cover. And I would like to see them start doing that, because no one is taking into consideration how big of a head start this is. And I would very much like to see the platform that I personally do prefer to play on offer some of these amazing things that Xbox is doing. And the problem is Sony simply it isn't, so that's that. Bruno, you want to take us into our next story?
Yeah. So, to kick into the next topic we have is CW Supergirl has been canceled and will conclude after the show's 6th season, which is currently waiting to resume production. And this final season is still meant to air on CW in 2021, as, of course, production was halted with everything else because of COVID, so naturally they couldn't release at the times that they would have normally. But anyways, this is going to be the second show in DC's Arrowverse to end following Arrow, which ended January this year, which is interesting because I fell off Supergirl. I stopped watching around the midway through second season.
Didn't even watch. I watched one trailer for it, a single trailer.
Yeah, it's not great.
No, it's a CW show.
It really. Well, yeah, fair enough. That's the best way.
And
to
be
put
honest, when you sent this to me today, I was like, oh, I didn't even know Supergirl was still on.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're canceling the show after this last season, because from what I imagined whenever they did the Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I did watch, really liked it. I assumed that because that ended and we were going to get into like this new era of all these shows going in a different direction, but instead this one's just getting canceled, which I'm pretty sure of the CW shows, this one did get the lowest views. Like, consistently got lower and lower.
I thought Batgirl did.
Batwoman, I don't I'm going
Batwoman.
based off like the main three because they were the
Oh.
longest running ones. Batwoman
Yeah.
is still relatively.
Yeah, but isn't
New.
Legends of Tomorrow doing pretty good for them? Doing pretty well for them? I don't know.
Yeah, people seem to like Legends of Tomorrow a lot because it's
I
a
don't know
very
what those
weird,
numbers are.
it's a very interestingly developed show because you really honestly don't know what to expect, and sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's not. I'm on and off with that show.
Not
I'm-
gonna lie,
I'm
never
kinda-
gonna turn on a CW
I'm
show.
off with all of them at the moment.
Yep.
But I just thought it was worth bringing up because the show initially aired in 2015, and so it's been around for about 5 years, and it's coming to its end, which is interesting because it's weird to see shows like Arrow, which got 8 seasons and went on for a decent
Mhm.
amount of time, and they had Smallville initially the first thing to ever do this, which went on for 10 years. And then
Yeah.
Supernatural's just now ending after 15 seasons, so
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that was still a thing. I thought that show ended 12.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
had-
it's
I had
just
no
now
idea.
recently coming to an end, and it's just weird
Yeah.
that this show was had such a small lifespan, but also they are creating their new show, Superman and Lois, which is based off naturally Superman and Lois raising their son, and so I don't know if maybe they just canceled this show to meld in the two together
Is
and
it gonna
have.
be like Lois and Clark?
That was my first assumption. I honestly don't know because I have no interest in a lot of the shows
That's,
as of now. The only one I
that's
maybe
trash.
kind of keep up with is Flash every now and then, but even then I haven't.
Mm.
Like I said, I've fallen off of all of them. They just aren't that great anymore. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate because at least Flash and Arrow started off really strong. I haven't seen Batwoman. Legends of Tomorrow did start pretty strong. Supergirl was all right at first. It just felt like it was a cheap copy of Smallville at first, but I was okay with it because I was still had that nostalgia for Smallville that I still will watch that show now, and it's still not great. It's not even really good, but I just have nostalgia with it. But I just thought that was
That's fucking
worth
gross.
mentioning because they're finally ending it. I don't know why I say
Yeah.
finally. It's not like I've been waiting for this thing to end. I could care less, but I thought it was noteworthy.
Yeah, so in conclusion, Supergirl is canceled like all CW shows should be because they're fucking trash. Let's go ahead and get through these ones. Bruno, do you want to go into our next story?
Yeah, to continue with some more stuff from DC, the Batman, which we've talked about numerous times on the show, is reportedly resuming its filming. We mentioned a couple shows ago that Matt Reeves' Batman film shut down production on September 3rd due to Robert Pattinson being diagnosed with COVID-19. And recently, a Warner Brothers spokesperson said, quote, "Following a hiatus for COVID-19 quarantine precautions, filming has now resumed on The Batman in the UK," end quote. The Batman is still slated for an October 1st, 2021 release date. And I was just really glad to read this news because it was some well-needed good news for me because I am so excited for this Batman movie.
Yeah, I really can't wait. I guess Robert Pattinson no longer COVID confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, congrats for him for just beating that thing pretty quick.
Yeah, some people have, some people haven't.
Yeah.
We shouldn't really touch on this. It's how you get a shadow ban.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime it's mentioned, bro, shadow bans.
Hmm.
Your shit's going to no one, son.
Whack.
Anyways, yeah, we're really glad at the COVID recovery. No, I am really excited for this.
Yeah,
it
I
is-
watched the trailer again today for it.
Yeah, I was excited for it before we saw anything. Just because
Yeah.
I was like, all right, yeah,
As soon as they said Matt Reeves
I'm cool at
and Batman.
at seeing another a different take on Batman.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, I'm so fucking down.
Still blown away by it.
Yeah. Moving on to our next story. According to a report by Bloomberg, the U.S. government has turned its gaze to the gaming industry in its latest inquiries on data security involving Chinese company Tencent. The article goes on to clarify that the Committee on Foreign Investments in the U.S., which is chaired by the Treasury Department, has sent letters to companies including Epic Games Incorporated, Riot Games, Activision Blizzard, and others to inquire about their security protocols in handling Americans' personal data, said the people who asked not to be named because the discussions are private. Now, this is notable because Epic, Riot, and Blizzard are all at least partly owned by Tencent. Riot Games, I think, is entirely owned by Tencent. And Epic and Activision Blizzard, it's a small percentage as far as Chinese investment goes. But the U.S. government's actions seem to be, at the moment, just inquiries behind the scenes, but I would not be surprised if it goes further and very public, as the current administration has previously gone after Tencent's WeChat app and ByteDance's TikTok app, which, of course, you might not know what WeChat is. It's basically what is it? What's that fucking app? The messaging app.
I don't know. I don't use any messaging apps.
It's God damn it, I can't remember it right now.
I feel like I know the one you're talking about too. I just can't think of the name.
Yeah, it's the green logo.
Yeah, I literally know what you're talking about. I can't think of it.
Tip of my goddamn tongue.
Same.
Anyways,
WhatsApp? Is that it?
WhatsApp. It's pretty much WhatsApp that spies on you. More so than our government and companies already do. But back to the story. Ultimately, we'll have to see, however, because it'll be interesting to see how these game companies have handled data security with the Chinese government, as the article does not elaborate on that point at all. Now, it should be noted that the U.S. government previously fined Musical.ly, currently known as TikTok, $5.7 million as part of an FTC settlement in 2018 for illegally collecting names, email addresses, pictures, and location of children under the age of 13, a violation of privacy laws in place aimed at protecting young children from the predatory practices of companies willing to buy and sell their data for more personalized, streamlined ad experiences. Honestly, with this story, with this story, it is, look, I understand that, I'm a huge proponent of, we really should be asking ourselves, where our data goes, and we should protect it a little bit more, from our government, from these companies, actually this past week, not this week, but last week, I believe there was it was like a U.S. Supreme Court maybe ruled that the NSA's mass data collection was fucking illegal, what Edward Snowden reported on. And I've been a huge proponent ever since I saw those NSA documents. And even before that, when there was just speculation that the government doesn't need to be collecting this data on us, that it's fucking illegal wiretapping, it's horseshit, it's unconstitutional. I am not a fan of I'm not a fan of any particular side of politics. I think it's all fucking, it's they do it for show. It's the illusion of like oh, we're fucking enemies, but we go to dinner together.
It's like what they do at UFC fights before the fight, when they have like press conferences.
But see, sometimes those guys really can't stand each other. And I think maybe that happens in politics sometimes, but that's the fucking game. It's sling shit at one another in order to get that fucking whatever chair you're going for. And then when that doesn't work, be like, oh no, it's no, that I didn't really mean that. Of course I'm going to be his fucking VP or, fucking in his cabinet or fucking whatever. I think that politics has become, way too corrupt, so on and so forth. And I recognize the hypocrisy, the slight hypocrisy in criticizing anyone for collecting data on any group of people. Because, by the way, we did not just collect on American citizens. That's why we had problems with Germany for the longest time, because it came out in those leaked documents that Angela Merkel, their prime minister, had been a target of PRISM, which was the NSA program that they were using to tap into phones. So we're talking about other world leaders. Like this is a fucking problem. This is, if we were any other country, we would be fucked for how our government collects data. And I am not a fan of this administration. With that being said, it's about fucking time someone goes after China. Like I'm really tired of seeing them, like fucking put their grubby, fucking communist fingers on influencing everyone else. Like that's all it is. And with that being said, like it's specifically the People's Republic of China, their government. It is not their people. It is not. I have some really good friends who have like opened my eyes to just how brainwashed Chinese citizens are. Even when they come over here and have free access to data, they're so brainwashed they don't believe it. And I have friends that are Chinese nationals who we just do not touch on these subjects because they get very offended. And I didn't even mean to offend them. I thought we were having a fucking conversation on like, do they want to see more freedom or less freedom? Like it was crazy. With that being said, the Chinese government is overreaching a lot. Between them trying to influence our media, which is a huge fucking problem, and their egregious violation of human rights and national sovereignty with other nations. It seriously is about fucking time that something is done about the Chinese government. It is a huge fucking problem. And with that being said, I do understand that we owe them shit tons of money. We're not exactly in a bargaining position, and I don't want to see war come out of this. Because I'm truly anti-war through and through. With that being said, the Chinese government is currently engaging in the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims in China. They are engaging in the violation of sovereignty of Hong Kong, an independent city-state from China. They are not part of China. The sovereignty of Taiwan, which they have bullied into the rest of the world, not even admitting that Taiwan exists in some cases. These are egregious violations of human rights. And if this were happening anywhere else, I think it would be called out, but because China has such influence, whenever they do, the NBA shuts the fuck up, and they get spanked by the Chinese government for that, whenever they come out in support of Hong Kong, and then the other part that really pisses me off is that. Any Chinese national that comes out in support of the police in Hong Kong is then completely shit on. And we somehow pretend that they weren't brainwashed. The Mulan actress, for example, came out in support, and that's why everyone was saying we needed to boycott Mulan. I don't think so. I think we need to have more conversations with these people and really get them to understand why do they actually believe what they're saying. Or are they regurgitating what they have been told time and time again out of fear? Donnie Yen is another person who came out in support of the Hong Kong police, who are basically arms of they're agents of the Chinese government at this point, and they shouldn't be, as well as the mayor in that city. And they are slowly taking away democracy there. and soon will absorb Hong Kong, which is a travesty. And again, a violation of sovereignty. Reporters go missing there, who are critical of the local government, police, China. And it is really disheartening to see that somehow no one has the balls to say that this is wrong, that a mass genocide of a race of people, breaching of sovereignty of other nations, and trying to influence ideologies in other sovereign nations' citizens is not a huge fucking problem that needs to be addressed. Usually we don't like to get political here. But I don't think that's political to say that there are human rights violations, breaches of sovereignty of democratic nations, the systematic breakdown of some of this shit, and somehow it's seen as xenophobic or some shit like that, to criticize the Chinese government, or to say that I'm glad that our government is fucking doing something. It's something, anything about it, because this is a problem. And U.S. companies seem to be salivating for at the very thought of Chinese money coming to their companies, so that they can sell out for Chinese influence. And if you think they have no influence, then look no further than the NBA and the sheer hypocrisy that comes down whenever the NBA basically doesn't allow their players to come out in support of the Hong Kong protests. People who have been protesting for over a year to keep their freedom from a communist dictatorship, and somehow that's completely lost on everyone. So yeah, I'm fucking glad that we're at least making some sort of headway in combating this problem, even though I don't think that we're going to go anywhere near it. And I most certainly don't want to see some sort of armed conflict come out of this, because I also don't believe that we should go into that entirely too confident that we would come out victorious. And that would be I can't stand the idea of like having war in this day and age. Like, the world's more connected than ever. Shit just doesn't need to be a thing. But also I am very curious to see if these gaming companies oblige to China's request, if they did request data in an illegal manner, because they have done this before, like I said. But I'm not entirely sure if gaming companies would say no. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see if Riot, Activision Blizzard, or Epic has given up any of that data. But I think for now it's going to be hush hush. But I think once we move to the later months of the year, we're probably going to hear a little bit more on this. So yeah, man, I know you've been relatively quiet. This isn't really your area.
No, yeah, I don't really
expertise, but any
get
thoughts?
into politics, and like you said, we don't really on here, but
yeah.
I do have to agree. And the one thing I can say, at least, is anytime there is some sort of wrongdoing, no matter who's doing it, it needs to be called out.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
like you said, I'm glad that's at least being done.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there's someone everywhere for the most part is doing something, I guess, somewhat wrong, and and we can't necessarily do everything at once, but
yeah,
I am glad that there's some sort of something standing against it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Or at least opposing force.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is all you can really ask for, is that when someone's doing something wrong, is for someone to step in and try to do something right.
Yeah, and that's not even necessarily saying that we should somehow intervene in to into the Chinese nation, or that we should try to attempt to influence their people to do anything. But their citizens approve of their government. 96% of their citizens do. And while I'm sure a lot of people said that they approve because they were fucking terrified. I do believe that it is a very high percentage, probably around 90. I believe 9 out of 10 Chinese citizens have been brainwashed to the point where, like in most communist dictatorships, where they don't see the crimes of the state, and that's we shouldn't intervene on their shit either. But when there is a human rights violation, when another country is encroaching on the sovereignty of a smaller nation or nation state that cannot defend themselves from that threat, I don't really think that it's a problem to call that shit out and try to do something about it, especially with the genocide of the Uyghur Muslims. And it is a genocide, very, very similar to the one in Rwanda that happened in the 90s. The only difference here is that they are harvesting organs for the black market, and that is according to Reuters. I want to say that's some disturbing shit. Like that's not some fucking conspiracy. That's not some fucking Alex Jones tinfoil hat, like fucking turning the freaking frogs gay. It's not on any of that. That's according to either Reuters or fucking AP. I want to say that is what's happening, and China is systematically denying that there is anything going on with the Uyghur Muslims, despite the fact that we can see their villages burning from Google satellites. So that's whatever. But yeah, so let's move on to the next story and not be so depressed. But I do think there needs to be a larger vocalization of just how intolerant we should be for this kind of injustice.
Yeah, for sure.
And the fact that everyone on the American political spectrum tries to make this as if it can be politicized in a bipartisan way, in either left or right way, is fucking asinine. Like it is truly asinine. I think everyone needs to take their heads out of their asses and realize that that this is a crime against humanity that is taking place, being perpetrated by a government. Calling that out is not taking a political stance. It's not. That is taking a morally just stance, and I believe that every person should. And I think that we do need to see more of a vocalization, specifically coming from people who are more liberal leaning, like you and I, because right wing's been doing this shit forever. But it does seem to be absent from people who want to appease the larger, broader audience of the left. So it's I don't know, man. It's just a huge problem to me. And like I said, like both of us are liberal, so and we don't alienate fucking audiences here. I don't give a fuck what your political leanings are. I don't give a fuck who you voted for. That seems to be an unpopular opinion in the gaming industry now. Dude, we're here to talk about games, and if we can do that, then by all means. But this happens to be relevant to gaming, and yeah. So let's move on. Cyberpunk 2077, the highly anticipated RPG from CD Projekt Red, developer of the Witcher games, will apparently have a slightly shorter story than The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is because, according to the developer, they received, quote, a lot of complaints, end quote, that The Witcher 3's main story was simply too long. Quote, tremendous numbers of people played through The Witcher 3 really far, but never made it to the end, end quote. Patrick Mills, senior quest designer on Cyberpunk 2077, said during the game's most recent developer livestream. Mills continued by saying that because of this, we did shorten the main story. With that being said, Cyberpunk 2077 is supposed to be a massive game. With a world so detailed, you can even complete the main quest by doing other quests that will take place parallel to the main story. So each event affects the world in an immersive way, giving it the feel of a genuinely organic world. I don't see this as much of a problem. This is supposed to be a bigger game than The Witcher. However, a lot of people were pretty upset about this. And I am very curious as to what numbers they're talking about. Because the only type of data that we would have to go on, because of course we can't see the back end, we don't see any of that, would probably be PSN profiles. So do you know what that is?
Mm-mm.
PSN profiles is basically you sign up and it tracks your trophies. So everyone who signs up, it tracks their trophies. So I can see what percentage of people who own the game who signed up for PSN profiles completed the actual game itself, which again, it is not like a fucking metric to die by. There's clearly a rather large margin of error. Does
this include any like DLC expansion trophies within it, or is it just base game?
No, they do it separate.
Okay.
Yeah. They classify everything separate. But that would be the closest thing. So that's just taking a consumer group and seeing what the numbers are among this. And it's a pretty large group over on PSN profiles. The Witcher 3 has a 41.54% of people beat the game, according to PSN profiles. 41.54% is to put that in comparison with other shit. With other games similarly to it, as far as RPGs that have pretty big worlds that you can go ahead and explore and so on and so forth. Assassin's Creed Odyssey has a completion rate of the main story of 51.51%. And I do want to clarify, I'm speaking of not people who platinum the game, but people who got the trophy for beating the main quest line. In all of these RPGs. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey is 51.51%. Final Fantasy 15 is 53.87%. Now, these are rather high. Like, they're actually pretty high. Skyrim is 29.28%, though.
Does this go off of Special Edition or the original version of the game?
These are all PS4 games.
Okay.
So I didn't go for the PS3 game. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen?
Mm-hmm.
Dark Arisen? I don't know why I fucked that one up. 27.09% complete. And Fallout 4, 24.34% completed the main quest line. Now, I do have to say, Fallout quest lines get rather fucked with how they're done. And the Fallout 4 quest line in particular, there's like a bunch of different ways to take and it's one of those.
I didn't stick around for a lot of Fallout 4.
No, I'm not that
I didn't even do that with 3.
Now I was going to include Horizon Zero Dawn, which had closer to The Witcher 3 in the 40s. I think it was around 43% completion rate of the main story, but I didn't want to include a first party title because those do tend to have higher platinums and higher completion rates among the users, and that's simply because, well, the people who buy them are there for Sony titles.
Yeah, they're dedicated.
They're probably going to beat the game. That is very interesting, though, that Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Final Fantasy 15 have an above 50% completion rate of the story. And like I said, unsurprisingly, Skyrim is not even at 30%. But The Witcher 3 is at 41.54%. And that is intriguing to me because that seems to be, if it were somewhere around where Skyrim is, Fallout, Dragon's Dogma, or lower, I mean, maybe even low 30s, I'd be like, yeah, 1 in 3 people completing the game is, maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense for how big the game is.
That's why I'm wondering what the data looked like on the back end. Because of course, like I said, you have to sign up for PSN profiles. It is not a metric that you should take entirely too serious, but it's a good ballpark.
Yeah.
And at 41.54%, that's not too bad at all.
Especially considering what I find funny is, of the games on here that I have, I've played every game on here. The only one I actually did finish was Witcher 3. It's the only one I finished the campaign for. I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, what I just said, I did not finish The Witcher 3's campaign, but that wasn't because it was too long. It really just came down to, I don't remember why, but it was one of those instances where like you're really into a game and then something happens and you don't play it for a week and it's almost like intimidating to go back to, and then you just kind of fall off of it.
That's
and
me
don't finish
with
it.
finishing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm so close. I fell off.
Oh yeah.
I need to do like a few more chapters and
It's
I'm
worth
done.
it. But you saw me beat the game, so you know.
Well, yeah, I'm. It's not even worried about anything.
It's just the
It's just
completionist in you.
I do want to beat it, but I remember why I stopped last time. I tried to get the trophy for doing I think it's the pull up challenge or the squat. It's whatever challenge you do.
Oh yeah, you spent like an abnormally long time.
Yeah, trying to beat it, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna play it later, and then later never came. And
Yeah,
I want to go back to it. I feel like I will at some point. I'll definitely, if I don't finish it anytime soon, whenever I get the chance, like if PS5, I feel like I just want something to play, I might, even if I don't have a transferred save, I might even consider replaying it.
Yeah.
Although the side quests drag.
So speaking of replaying, that is it for our news stories. So I want to wrap it up there, but kind of segue off of what you were saying, because towards the end of the show is typically where we talk about a bad take that we saw in the gaming industry that we want to go ahead and speak on and either disagree or so on and so forth. Sometimes we don't have one, but speaking of replaying and Skyrim, I want to talk about how, for whatever reason, people act like Skyrim wasn't a good game, and I have no idea why. Now, I have a guess, and before we go on too long, I will say we're at like 2 hours now. So we'll keep it short and sweet because Skyrim's been covered a million times. But I think what it is it is so immensely popular and has been released so many times, and there's almost this disdain that people feel like because Bethesda can milk Skyrim, that's why we haven't gotten Elder Scrolls 6, which I don't think so. I think Bethesda is close to I don't think that, especially with their game engine, which, by the way, they've used since the 90s, It's the same game engine, Bruno.
Damn.
I actually want to say it. Going back to the. No, I didn't go back to the 80s.
What
90s.
engine is it?
Actually, I'm about to look that up. It's but fucking God, why can't I remember it? It's like Bethesda's proprietary. I'll give you a name for it in just a minute. But what are your thoughts on that? Because personally, I fucking love Skyrim. I think Oblivion's better, like immensely better.
I definitely.
But Skyrim's a fucking amazing game, and I would love to see a fucking ray tracing, fucking not up-resed. I want to see a retexture.
I want to see
Skyrim
what they did with Demon Souls.
4K. Yes.
Yeah, I guess that's the best example I can give.
Like a remake, but not Final Fantasy remake. Don't change the fucking game.
No.
Change the graphics. Change all your fucking why am I blanking on the word now? Textures. Change all the texture designs. Change your graphics. For the love of fucking God, use a new game engine. And give me this bitch.
You don't want all them bugs? How will your horse climb?
Dude, I'm even okay with the bugs. Just give me a modern. Skyrim is a fucking amazing game, and for whatever reason, everyone's shitting on it. Like it's a fucking horseshit game, despite the fact that it's so fucking amazing.
I think it's almost
one of the best-selling games of all time.
I think it's almost like how how there are some people who like talk shit about shit like fast food or McDonald's, and then they're the same people who will constantly go and get it because it's like. You do something almost not like you're not supposed to, but
it's not like that, like, oh man, this shit really is bad. You really shouldn't eat it. Which again, yeah, like Bethesda should probably stop releasing Skyrim on everything, and I would love to see a fucking Elder Scrolls 6. But let's not sit here and pretend like Skyrim wasn't a fucking great game. And like if you gave me a 4K, which I get you can do with mods on PC. I've done that. I personally prefer to play Skyrim games on console. That's probably heresy, but whatever.
I wouldn't. For me, I have to play it on console, and this is probably also
so cool to play with lightsabers.
A lot more unpopular opinion. I love vanilla Skyrim as it is, and I don't like playing with mods.
Oh, no, that's heresy. Ooh,
I can't play it. I mean, I can. There are certain mods that are very interesting.
Have you ever played Skyrim
with mods? Yeah.
With the fucking Death Star looking down at you, you got a lightsaber in your hand.
The only thing
you're hunting Thomas the motherfucking Train.
It's very funny. I'll give you that, but there's
maybe not Thomas the Train one, but like I personally love mods, but mods were introduced in the remastered anyways.
Yeah, they're not that great.
Oh, are they not?
A lot of the ones I've seen, it's like, I mean, there's not a whole lot to choose from, I guess.
The texture mods for PC. Do look
I have seen those, and that's the only ones I can consider playing.
Because on PC, you can do 4K and ray tracing with some of the texture mods. Like, I think I showed you that one video where you were like, whoa, what game is this? And I was like, fucking Skyrim. Fucking mods. Yeah. You were like, oh, that's...
Yeah. Cool. I mean, the reason I like to play vanilla is just because there's so much to the game already that I haven't even done. So why would I want to add... And I know there's other stuff you can add, like you said, lightsabers and fucking Thomas the Tank Engine and goddamn Death Star in the sky. To me, that just breaks kind of the immersion of the world. Is that I've said it already, I have a huge fantasy bias. So introducing stuff that doesn't fit in the world feels weird to me. Like, I feel like there are a couple mods I could probably use. Like, there's is it the Civil War mod, right?
Sorry, my phone going off. Yeah, but I can never get the Civil War mod to work.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, if in theory, if you can get something like that to work, I would play with that because I feel like it makes the world feel more realistic and lived in.
Well, the crazy thing about the Civil War mod is that that's not entirely mod script.
Oh, for real?
That's in the original game code. It apparently was supposed to kind of work that way, where like you would fight in battles and you could lose battles. And
why do you think it was taken out?
Lose allies. I don't think it worked on PS3 and 360.
Oh, that could be it.
Yeah, I don't think that they had the processing power to have you organically play out a battle on a large scale.
Yeah, because they
Skyrim
were randomly generated, right?
Yeah, and you controlled what happened. Like, you could win or lose the battle, as to where, like, in Skyrim, you just kind of, like, it is what it is. The NPCs are going after each other, and it's the one side's gonna win there. But in this one, it was almost this random thing that, like, based on how prepared you were.
Like a war
and
simulator.
Yeah, it was a war type simulator thing. I don't think they could ever get it to work on
That's fair.
On
that
the
makes a lot of
previous
sense.
gen. Personally, either that or it didn't work in their creation engine, which is what it's called. It's their creation engine, which I take back what I said. It has not been used since the 90s. It has been used. No, actually, I'm fucking lying. It was created for Morrowind, which came out in 2002, which means it was used in the 90s.
Since we brought up Elder Scrolls and Skyrim and how we both think Oblivion's the better game, I saw IGN do a like top 25 RPGs of all time.
Yeah.
Number 25 was Skyrim. I personally don't think it should have been that low on the scale. A lot of the other ones were, whatever, but Oblivion wasn't on the scale. Morrowind was higher than Skyrim. But Oblivion wasn't on the scale at all.
What?
I was very upset to see that on the list, which
dude,
at
I
the
gotta
end
go
of the
see
day,
this
I don't
list.
really give a fuck about what they want to do their list as. I have my own personal list. It's all opinion based, but
so much.
I feel like you can't objectively not have it on the list. But that's just my opinion.
That is
I think the number one game they put was like fucking Chrono Trigger, if I remember correctly. Like, and I think Witcher 3 was like number 10, so just barely broke that.
Oh no, bro! I actually am lying about the creation engine. That is exactly what I thought. So the creation engine was previously known as Gamebryo. Oh yeah, Gamebryo. That makes sense. And Gamebryo is the basis for a creation engine. Because Gamebryo's kind of like a modular engine, but still same type resources. To put this in perspective, 97 is the earliest for Gamebryo. And I believe that was because they changed names. And I'm not going that far back. Either way, Bethesda's using a 20-year-old engine.
Yeah. At least
you shouldn't do that. Not at all. Because in the span of 14, no, maybe not even in the span of like 10 years, DICE has created fucking 5 Frostbite engines. They're just continuously going with Unreal, constantly being, Decima. Like these were things that were,
What do you think would be like the best replacement engine, or do you think they should just make a new one?
The best replacement engine for
an Elder Scrolls type game.
An Elder Scrolls game.
Or if you just think they should just make their own.
Either Unreal or Unity. No, I don't think they should make their own. What does Microsoft use?
Not sure. Did you ever...
Probably Unity.
This is an old video, at least a couple years old. But do you remember... I think it might have been Unreal 3 when someone recreated Ocarina of Time in Unreal 3.
I think it was Unreal 4, and I've seen that shit. That shit is fucking insane.
I want to play that so bad. Which I feel like I could maybe find some way, but I'm not worried that much about it. But man, Skyrim. I'm just thinking now of all the fun times I've had in Skyrim. Like even on PS4 when I just had to recreate my fucking character.
I really don't understand why everyone's shitting on Skyrim lately.
Yeah, I think it's just I'd like to believe they don't genuinely dislike the game. They just don't like how much they keep buying it again. because it's like almost knowing that they're gonna buy it and they're gonna play it again, and just kind of hating the fact that they keep doing that. But
I would gladly give my money up for a 4K retextured remake, not a reimagined. Don't fuck with the game. Just a retextured
you can make the story
remake.
better, maybe. I didn't like the story. I'm kidding. Don't fuck with Skyrim and like any story beats.
Which is fine.
I never. Well, obviously, I never finished it. I just didn't care enough. It couldn't grab me. I love the fucking expansion stories though. Dawnguard is my favorite. One of my favorite campaigns. Dark Brotherhood's a really good one too.
Yeah, and it still wasn't as good as Oblivion's.
Oblivion's Dark Brotherhood.
Yeah,
I never played their Dark Brotherhood. I started it. I never played through it because what you have to just murder someone, right? Because it's not even like you have to do the whole thing.
You murder someone and go to sleep.
Yeah, because in Skyrim you have to go to the Arantino boy and he gives you the contract for Grella the Kind. That's one way to start it.
That's the only way to start it.
Oh, okay.
So it's because the Dark Brotherhood had really fallen from grace.
Yeah, and they mentioned that many times
in the gap between Oblivion and Skyrim. And in the times of Skyrim, the Dark Brotherhood are operating on hearsay. So if they hear someone has a contract, they go meet that person, but they have to actually, word of mouth has to get around to them that there's someone performing the Black Sacrament.
Yeah.
And so you just simply intercept the contract before they do.
Yeah.
Because the kid thinks that you're fucking Dark Brotherhood. But in Oblivion, they're at their fucking prime.
Yeah, because it's 200 years before Skyrim.
They have the listener. They have the hand. They have
Bro,
all
I saw
of that.
a fucking car with a sticker that had a hand and it said "We know."
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome.
Well, so in Oblivion, like I said, it runs different in the fact that if someone performs the Black Sacrament, just like you saw the Night Mother speak to, they know the Night Mother is speaking to what's it, the listener? Yeah, the listener. And then that shit's being passed down. So when someone murders someone, they of course know too. So they're gonna come and see if you can provide your talents to the Dark Brotherhood.
Sometimes I wish I hadn't killed Cicero. Not because I liked him,
that dude.
But I would have really liked to have taken him to the torture room in the Dark Brotherhood chambers, just because I didn't like him. I liked wearing his funny outfit, though. I took it from him after I killed him. I put it on. I was like, I look funny. But it's not very good armor at all. I love Babette. She's an awesome character to interact with.
Yeah, she is. Little vampire fucking psychopath.
What sucks is I like Astrid. I just don't like what she does towards the end of that story. But I like her as a character.
I like all the characters in Skyrim's Dark Brotherhood questline.
Yeah.
Probably more than I do the characters in the Oblivion questline. But the Oblivion questline for the Dark Brotherhood is immensely better.
I would say that probably Skyrim has more likable NPCs than Oblivion.
Oh yeah, but Oblivion's NPCs were fucking awful. God,
they're hilarious to just looking at them. And stop right there.
Yeah,
you have violated the law.
But we're at 2:12. So let's go ahead and wrap this podcast up with our game suggestions of the week. That is where we suggest a game that you should be playing if you have nothing else to play. You fucking turn your PlayStation on or your Xbox on or your PC on and you fucking stare at it and then you walk away because you don't know what the fuck you want to play.
I do that daily.
My suggestion of the week is Broforce from indie dev Free Lives and publisher Devolver Digital. It's $14.99, but was free on Plus quite some time ago. So you might already own it. Definitely check it out. Broforce is a it might be 32-bit, but in the 16-bit art style,
side scroller, like shoot 'em up.
Yeah, where it basically is kind of like a parody on all the really old 80s and 90s action movies that were so asinine. They have like different plays on like Rambo and so on and so
Rambro.
forth.
Oh, that's one of my favorite ones.
And the game is just nonsensical fun. It's so
Don't
fucking
they have
good.
Neo in that?
They do. Yeah,
I forget what his name
They
is.
have Blade.
Yeah, they do have Blade.
They
Terminator.
yeah, it's
Chuck Norris.
It's really good.
It's a hilarious game, but it's also really addictive.
Yeah, and it's fucking gory as shit. As of course, a lot of Devolver Digital's games are, but I like them. I like them as a publishing.
Yeah, they do. I like to
indies.
support whatever they want to make. I'll support because
Of course,
they make a lot of cool things. Or publish.
They just but yeah. So Broforce is my game of the week. Go check it out. Bruno, what is yours?
So mine, I usually try to make these not things that I've already mentioned that I've been playing, but this one was just so good, and we already talked about it, so I won't go too deep into it. But Spellbreak, again, Proletariat, they fucking knocked it out of the park with this.
First game,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Free to play. Check it out.
Yeah.
Our thoughts are previously in the episode, so you can.
Yeah, it is really
just
good.
take that.
I'm probably actually going to play some Spellbreak in a minute once
Same.
I get this shit done editing. But we've already run long enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Remember to get the show early as well as other perks. Head on over to patreon.com/GamesTechMM where you can support us for just $1 a month, 25 cents a week. It's a
lot of
bargain.
quarters.
Might be a better bargain than Game Pass.
Maybe.
I'm kidding. No, Game Pass is so good.
But you get both of us
fucking
weekly.
Yeah, you do.
And hopefully more.
For 1/15 of the price.
Did you just do that math off the top of your head? Or you just knew that?
I have a calculator pulled up. Don't worry. It's right.
Okay.
Anyways, you can follow Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch at GamesTechMM. I'm going to be streaming a little bit later this week if my fucking internet will cooperate with me. I know that I said that last week, but seriously,
and the week before.
Every single time I
before.
upload, no, I didn't say it the previous.
I know,
2
I just
weeks.
like making that joke.
Seriously, every time I go to upload anything, like even when I upload the podcast, for whatever reason, it shits out my modem, and I've been told this is a perfectly normal thing by Cox, who I pay for gigabyte internet, and no, I'd say that 1,000 megs a second. Do you know how many I got when I was speed testing the other day with a Cat 6 Ethernet cable, Bruno?
You told me, but I forgot.
30 fucking 7.
I knew it was like 30 something.
30 fucking 7. Do you know what the upload is? 1.6. Yeah. So we've been having some
definitely need an upgrade.
Internet troubles. We're probably going to be switching, and that is when content's going to be coming a lot quicker. It seriously is
Content
very
is
hard
coming.
to
I can't do Game of Thrones
to update, specifically because with kids being back in school, they're really fucking with everyone's data, Cox. So we are looking into upgrading that in the near future. But again, thank you for listening. If you like the show, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It really does help with the algorithm and make sure that we're not entirely fucked. Until next time, guys. Oh yeah, Bruno doesn't plug his shit because he's a bitch.
Wow.